For the first one, really getting the marketplace off the ground. And this is super simple, and I'm sure, you guys all get it, but I'll just reiterate my learning was, it really comes down to figuring out what side of the marketplace turns your flywheel, right? Are you a demand-led marketplace? Are you a supply-led marketplace? Figure that out first. At Convoy, you're a demand-led marketplace. You need shippers before you have any business to give to the truckers, right? If you try to bring on truckers and you have no work for them, they'll never come back. So like that was Convoy, and Belong were the opposite. We're a supply-led marketplace, right? You need homes before you can get renters, right? Like you have no homes, renters never come back. So step A is like figure out what turns the marketplace. Are you demand-led? Are you supply-led? And then hyper focus on that segment of the marketplace, right? Like what can you do to get that segment, like cold start that segment and get it off the ground, right? So that when you have that with that, like say, load in hand or home in hand, you can go get the trucker or renter to then get, close the loop, match, provide that matching function that marketplaces thrive on, and then get the flywheel turning, right? So that was like my big learning, which is like find what that thing is that turns your flywheel, and then hyper focus on acquiring that segment of the marketplace, right? And nothing else matters. And when you get that right, you'll get a really nice network effect. And as your network grows, the key is to keep doing that and do it more cheaply. And if you can do that, you have a business that really succeeds and thrives, right? And so that was like, again, high level sort of my learning there, and I can give specific examples too. But the second piece of the high level learning there is you need a catalyst to get your flywheel turning more quickly so that you can really over time reduce, like I said, the cost of acquisition and the cost of growing your network, so you have a profitable, successful business. And that's what makes marketplaces so exciting, is because if you have this flywheel that's not only driving growth more rapidly, but more cheaply, you're almost impossible to defeat, right? Like the capital it takes to come and compete with you at that point is just somewhat prohibitive. So that's what makes it really exciting. And then you need to get the cost curve down, you need some sort of catalyst. And what I found in at least the marketplaces that I've operated in is it's often been because these were service-based business, good service and experience, right? Because like NPS sort of being that thing you focus on, right? Or customers, some measure of customer satisfaction. Because if you crack that and do that right for that segment that drives your marketplace, especially, right, you will get this really nice word of mouth engine. And it works both in enterprise, which was Convoy, but also consumer, which is Belong. Obviously much easier with consumer, but you get this right, really nice engine where folks will tell other folks about you. And you get this nicely growing network. And as your network grows, that becomes even easier and easier, right? And if you do that right, like you'll get your cost curve down, you'll get really strong economics and everything I mentioned. So those were like the key learnings there. And at Convoy, for me, really, and this is interesting because one was enterprise, one was consumer. Getting, like to share a specific example, getting the marketplace off the ground in Convoy was more straightforward to a certain degree, right? Because it's enterprise sales. And until you have a sales force, you're just really calling down every customer you can. You leverage your investors and try to get some freight, get a foot in the door so you can prove your worth and value, and then expand it's like land and expand, right? And then expand your account with those customers. And you can then, based on that, if you're hyper focused again, right? Like say, like what we did at Convoy was really focus on one lane from San Francisco to Seattle and get all the customers that ship that freight, right? And land with each of those customers and then expand with each of them. You'll really then get that flywheel turning in that market, right? And then you can go to the next market from there with those same customers and so on, right? So that's what we did at Convoy, and at Belong. really, now this is a consumer marketplace, so slightly different. I had to learn some new things, and really, what gets your flywheel turning, or your first set of homes, is like you don't have really like an enterprise sales force, but you do have really marketing that drives the engine early on. So you turn on performance marketing, get some leads, you'll get your early adopters, right? And you turn on your referral engines, and leverage your networks, right? And I think with those two, you can really start to build a customer base. And then if you, again, focus on that catalyst, which is really great experience with that first set of customers, again, you're off to the races. So that's sort of my learning so far.